Welcome. It's been a little bit since the last video. The last video had some problems with the audio and the comments. I don't know. I tried to work on that. It just never seemed to work. So I just left it there. Maybe you can get something out of it. But anyway, so specifically, this video was a request from DH about my Lorazepam. Um, and she asked here, it's I apologize for getting you so late, but time. Um, when you came off it, how did you do it, and how long were your withdrawals? And then she asked, and what was the timeline of her withdrawals, and things like that. And the reason this is kind of important, I think, is that we often rush to drugs. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Don't get me wrong here. I'm just kind of reading some more on here. Um, I my tale with lorazepam. Okay, I'm gonna. Um, hmm. I'm gonna make this smaller. Move this over, and then I'm just gonna make me a little bigger so I can talk to you there. Okay. So my story with lorazepam. I had started getting the PVCs from hell. More than 20,000 a day, right? So I have 20,000 plus a day, and then of course I'm going with cardiologists. That's a whole other story. But my general practitioner at the time said, "Well, let's put you on lorazepam for anxiety because I'm loaded with it." Well, who wouldn't be having 20,000 plus PVCs a day? I don't know what the highest number was I reached, but it's pretty significant. And they were him hawing around about the ablation. Now, keep in mind, this would have been about 2000. Wow, 2007, 2008. So it's been a little while ago. And so the only thing my doctor did was like, "We'll take lorazepam, you know, for the anxiety." So I started taking lorazepam, and the first time I took it at night, right before I went to bed to help me sleep because there was just so many PVCs I couldn't sleep. And I just remember taking it. I got this warm sensation down my legs, like I was just being slowly dipped into a nice warm pool of water that was effervescent, and I was hooked. Now, I wasn't an addict or anything like that. Let me clear that up. But I like that sensation, and it made me drowsy, and I could sleep. So I would take 1 milligram before bed every time, and I would sleep. And I would take it, as prescribed. I could take it 3 a day, and that's quite a considerable amount. 3 milligrams a day. So, gosh, that may have been 2007. I think it had been 2007. All right, so from 2007, and this is 2022, so I got off of them in 2018. You do the math. I'm not going to. So maybe 12 years or so. I'm not really sure. But the thing I found was it worked really well. And then it became anytime PVCs popped up, even after they subsided or I got on flecainide or so on and so forth, I still had the lorazepam. It was like, the only way I could sleep. I have a tough situation. Lorazepam. Lorazepam was the answer for everything. The benzodiazepine that it is. I'm sorry, I'm a little fidgety. And I'm trying to recall this. So the problem is that now this was a permanent part of my life. And there were periods where I thought, maybe I just don't need it anymore, and I tried to stop it, and I'm like, nah. So I would have to continue taking this stuff. And my doctor didn't think it was a big deal. She kept prescribing it, whatever. And then there was a period where I thought, I really don't need this. And I had just started going through my program for counseling, right, to become a counselor, a therapist. And, it's a very therapeutic process when you become a counselor. The education you go through, you really examine yourself as you learn to work with other people. You learn back then it was trauma. I focused mainly on kids. So it was adolescence development, and things like that, and the impact that those things have. Erickson's psychosocial stages of development, all that stuff. So I thought, I really need to explore this. I need to feel. I need to, kind of unload this stuff. So I thought maybe it's time to get off of Lorazepam. So my first shot at it was cold turkey. I just stopped taking it. And in 3 days, I was back on it. I couldn't sleep. I was jittery as hell. Just felt weird. Very, very weird. Now, I never abused it, and I want to keep mentioning that from time to time. Mine was dependency and usage, not abuse. I never took more than was prescribed. Never did. So what I would do is I would try those moments every once in a while. I couldn't kick this stuff. But I wanted to learn how to sleep on my own because my sleep was completely messed up because of this stuff. I didn't need it anymore for sleep. But here I was dependent on it for sleep. So I started looking around. And there are a bunch of websites and stuff out there that talk about weaning yourself off it, titration, and things like that. And I'm like, titration, I just didn't want to do that. I want something a little more quicker or something easier to do. So I started cutting my pills with a pill cutter. And if I was 1 milligram, I would try to take it down to 3/4 of a milligram. It's very hard to do. Those pills are really, really small. It was very hard to do. But I stuck to it. I kept doing it. And I set myself a goal that I would stop this stuff and I would continue on no matter the symptoms I had. Well, initially, I didn't really notice too much because I felt that was a pretty small taper. Now, at that point, I think I was taking it twice a day. So each pill I cut down. And then I continued on that and I set myself, okay, let's do this for 2-3 weeks and see where I'm at. And if I felt okay, I continued to do so. So that was kind of my pattern, was doing it that way. So then I got a new doctor. I essentially got rid of the old doctor and got a new doctor. And I tried to get her involved in this process. And I thought, well, maybe titration is the way to go, because initially I didn't want anything to do with that. And, I came up with this formula to download off the internet, and she didn't want to have had anything to do with it. She said, just keep doing what you're doing. Okay, fine. So I did that for a period of weeks until I was down to next to nothing. And I had to learn how to sleep again, which that's where, becoming a counselor helped out, because I worked on a lot of stuff, learned, the 4-7-8 breathing pattern for sleep and different things like that. And I processed a lot of my shit with PVCs. And then I thought, oh, cool, I'm really off of this. And so I stopped. I got down to where I was taking nothing, and I thought, man, I got this licked. I'm feeling okay. I'm sleeping. It's a little struggle here and there, but I'm getting there. And then I would just wake up in the middle of the night and just feel horrible. Horrible. I mean, I felt like my entire body was being crushed by one of those car smashers, that I was caught in one of those things. My ribs hurt. It was hard to breathe. A lot of panic, a lot of anxiety. And this would happen almost every night. And then that would continue off and on in severe intensity. And then I started getting this sensation that I was holding on to an electric fence or an electric wire, right? And I would feel that. And I still have it. I never had it before. I didn't have it until I stopped the Lorazepam. It's gotten a little better, but I still have it. I'll wake up sometimes and I feel like I'm just hanging on to an electric fence, and there's nothing I can do about it. I try a lot of different things. It just doesn't work. I have to wait for it to go away. So I had those two things in combination. The sort of the somatic presentation of coming off the Lorazepam. And then the cognitive stuff. Now, I've read this before. that coming off of benzos, sometimes there's a cognitive issues. Well, for me, it's like my memory took a good, healthy crap right afterwards. I struggle to remember things. It was hard to focus. I was lethargic. I was in a fog. And keep in mind, I'm going through an intensive master's program at Northwestern University and trying to function. It was incredibly hard. I had to double my efforts. I had to really focus. And some days I just couldn't. And I believe some days I sounded like a bubbling idiot. But that was part of the process. That cognitive fog would creep in. And memory issues. And some people say that wasn't Lorazepam. Some people say it was. My doctor can never confirm. But I believe it was. I believe it was Lorazepam. So something I took to alleviate my PVCs, now I thought was trying to kill me. You know, it was horrible. It was unbearable. It was hard to function. But I had a family. I had a job. I had to go to school. There was just no time. And in addition to that, there were periods when I couldn't breathe. Right? When I couldn't breathe. It was like, for some reason, I had severe asthma. But an inhaler didn't really work. And I think that was also a side effect. You know, the withdrawal symptoms of Lorazepam. It was very unnerving, and I really didn't care for it. And nobody should. So, that went on for a period of time. And it gradually, waking up and feel that crushing feeling started to subside. Now, we're talking months. We're not talking days or hours. We're talking months. It took to get off of that stuff, to get off that stuff, to lose that feeling of being crushed to death, the ribs, and so on and so forth. I still have the buzzies. It's what I call them, the buzzies. I feel like I'm grabbing an electric fence. It doesn't pulse. It's always on. I still have those from time to time. It's not as bad, but I still have them. I will have bouts of cognitive fog. I know at some point my doctor is going to say, you have dementia. No, I don't have dementia. This is a direct result of Lorazepam and the damage it did for being on it for so many years. So there is damage. How much of this is going to be permanent? I don't know. I don't know. I still have days of great lethargy, but I don't know if that's still, the side effect of the Lorazepam. Is this still part of that process, or is it something else? I've been checked out. So now I, looking back and having those experiences, my comments on this for people is don't touch the stuff. Don't touch the stuff if you can help it. All right. Now, there are cases that this stuff may be necessary, and this is a short-term use drug. Okay. It's not a long-term drug. I paid the price for that. I paid the price for that for a long time. And so it definitely has an impact. And would I do it again? No. I even have moments where I think, I'm having a little trouble sleeping. It'd be nice to have one. I'm like, nope. I want too much to get off of it. And I will never use this stuff again. Absolutely not. Those fears, the anxiety, the panic I had while I was having PVCs, and I reached out for the Lorazepam, and my doctor just gave it to me. There are other ways to manage that. And I learned how to do that through my master's work at Northwestern to become a therapist. I learned. We scoff sometimes at breathing, and some people it doesn't work for whatever reason. Breathing helps. Meditation, exercise is a huge one. It is for me now. I know when I exercise later in the evening, I sleep better. Taking showers before you sleep. Those things, turning off electronics, I know for me, and I've noticed it really bad, like last week, I really got wrapped up into watching some videos. I'm learning how to jump rope. I want to do those crazy fun things, right? So I'm watching all these videos, and I get wrapped up to them at night, and it's not good for you. So this week, I turned my phone off. I'd watch some TV until I got tired, and then all electronic went off, and I sleep so much better. So I've learned to sleep again. I've learned to manage that anxiety, and I don't have the panic anymore. But I've learned to manage that anxiety. I've learned to manage those feelings when they pop up. And then those thoughts of like, well, lorazepam would be really nice right now. I've learned to manage those through introspection, thinking through this stuff, examining myself, and finding ways to sleep. Look up the breathing technique 478. Showering again, exercise, all these things that we hear all the time that we just dismiss. No electronics before bed, when you're right before you go to sleep and stuff like that. Those things are effective. Finding a good support system, that is critical. At the time this was all going down, I'm not going to get into much of the negative here, but at the time the relationship I was in was very unsupportive, and it was unhealthy. So I didn't have a support system to help me through this process. Somebody saying, hey, I'll help you get through this. I'll hold your hand. This is a rough moment. I'll be there with you. That's so important to human beings. And I didn't have that then. I have that now. And when I went off of this stuff. So it's important that the people around you understand what you're going through, the impact of coming off of benzos. Or if you're thinking about getting on them, talk to people. Find out. Do the research. There's groups out there that people talk about how to get off this stuff, the side effects, the long-term side effects. Read those websites. Don't listen to just me. This is just my personal story. I think I went blank there for a second. This is my personal story. It may not apply. I don't know. But I will never use them again. I believe I have permanent damage from taking them for so many years, and the medical profession never told me that this was a bad idea. I learned it the hard way. I learned how to manage it through listening to other people, using my support structures, and using some good sense. Nobody should be on a drug that long for anxiety. If you got anxiety, now mine was born of the PVCs, and then I got stuck with this stuff. Reach out to a mental health professional. Also, find your support people around you, forums, message boards. When you're thinking about using this stuff or want to know more about it, reach out. So, DH, that's my story. I hope that helps. I'll never use this stuff. Still paying the price for some of it, and it was horrible, horrible, horrible coming off of this stuff. I would rather go 9 rounds with a professional boxer or taekwondo matches than take that stuff again, because the side effects, the withdrawals, are way worse than that. So anyway, I hope that helps. I hope you find some use in that. Be doing some more videos coming up. I thought this was interesting. I finally got time to sit down and do one and think about it. It's kind of just off the cuff. It's how I kind of like to do things. So DH, I hope that helps. I hope that helps somebody else. Got any more ideas for videos? Let me know. Anyway, thanks so much. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope that you're managing your PVCs. I hope you're sticking with whatever works for you. So hang in there.